with another podcast coming at you live. Ladies and gentlemen, it is No Sugar, No Cream podcast. And it's another Tuesday, and we are kicking and screaming and having a fantastic time. It's going very well today, and a nice, beautiful day. So we're getting closer and closer to the hot days of summer. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying this season. Of course, we'll definitely have to mention some NBA going on. The first rounds, first series is getting close to wrapping up. Looking good for the Celtics and the Warriors. Not the Lakers, of course, but that's all right. There's not that many Laker fans out there, is there? Is there? But yeah, I guess you can have maybe two of the best players in the world, but doesn't mean you're gonna win. Tim is once again visiting. Last week, you'll remember that he was at Burger Stand, I believe. Burger Stand. I know you probably haven't heard of that country. It's because I made it up. That's what I like to do. Today, Tim is visiting. I have no idea. Tim's just finishing. I have no jokes. I'm out of jokes. I guess I'm not fully awake today yet. But Tim's just wrapping a few things up, and but he's got a few things to talk about too, and we'll be going. But yeah, I played in a poker tournament Sunday, and it was a normal game. You couldn't rebuy or nothing, but there was 50 some people playing, and it probably about 60 people playing, and it was for like more than $2,000, so that was fun. But man, I just slowly lost my chips. I just didn't. I got like 3 hands. I think I won 3 hands, but I was just slowly losing my chips over time. But had a very good time. Not the best of hands. Not as bad as the Monday before. I didn't have one single good hand. I didn't win one hand, and I don't think I never got like 2 high cards. It was all low cards. So if you know Texas Hold'em, you want to pair up with your cards and the cards on the board, and you start with a high card, and then go up to a pair, 2 pair, trips, a straight, a flush, which was the same suit, 5 of the same suit cards, and then full house, which is 2 cards and 3 cards of the same number, or like jack or whatever. But yeah, I have a lot of fun playing that, and it's a free game to play, which we've said before. You still not legal to play. To do there's no like casino or anything at all, I think, in Tennessee at all. So you have to go over the border to do any of that. But yeah. So that's what I have been up to, and then watching some watching some shows that I've been to. I just finished up watching what was it? It was Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has some of the best shows, but it was the prequel to Yellowstone, 1923. They just came out with the 2nd season, and I think that's the end for 1923. But it just wrapped up, and it was everything what you want for like a good Western. It was the amazing big scene at the end where they're protecting their house, and they're about probably 40, 50 guys coming in with guns. They have the advantage being having the high ground and having good positions, but they are definitely outnumbered. And but it's so if you haven't watched, it's I think it's just as good. But it's different though too. It's 1923. I mean, the times are different then. But you basically see the main character in Yellowstone born, and which is really unique because he paddles it all. His mother, just the process in season 2 of it, the main, really, he's the main character, or he is the, like, who's supposed to take over Yellowstone. He's just amazing. He like fought for the army and everything, and then he's over working for the government in Africa, shooting lions that are attacking people and killing humans and stuff. And he meets this wonderful woman, and they fall in love, and they do a quick little marriage thing. And in fact, she was betrothed to someone else, so it's a whole ordeal there. But then he gets kicked off the boat, and they get separated, and she's like, I'll come to you. So the whole second season is her slowly making her way, and everything that goes wrong goes wrong. It is horrible. Her trying to find her way. I'll do a little spoiler alert. So if you know, but seriously, like, at one point, like, it doesn't seem like seems like she's on her own, and there's this couple that help her out and befriend her and save her from a false accusation of she was defending herself, but they're trying to say that she attacked this man, but he had attacked her. And they just loved her story. They invited her home and gave her a place to kind of recuperate as she was on her way to Yellowstone. And they loved her story so much. And they had a car, and they seemed like they had a lot of money. So we will drive you there is the plan. It's like 3 days away, snow and everything. And you're like, oh, are they going to, it just, everything has been going so wrong for her, but now there's this couple that's going to help her. But of course they inherit the bad luck along with her. And on the way, they freeze to death. The couple does. She survives. She's pregnant. She survives, but the couple, literally, she wakes up and one's frozen to death in the front, and the other one is like just 20 feet out in front, and it's downpouring snow, and she's starting to freeze to death. But I'll leave it there. But I mean, it's so tragic. It's so tragic. It's a wonderful story. But if you like a tragic story, watch season 2 of 1923. But I only give you a tip of the iceberg. It just gets worse than that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I really enjoy and that, of course, Yellowstone is written by. Do you remember his name?
Taylor.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Tim is so much.
Taylor Sheridan.
Names.
Is that his last name?
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah. So I think there were even talks of trying to keep the show, the main show, going, but I think but it heads with Taylor.
Kevin Costner said he
he's done. They killed off his character too. So spoiler alert. But there we go. Yeah, because he said he wouldn't come back anymore. But he did his own show, his own Western movie, and I think he's going to do 2 or 3 of them. And the first one was pretty good, but it just didn't do as well in theaters. But it was a good story. I enjoyed it. I do like Western stuff and Indians, and there was Indian. There's an Indian storyline, which they didn't make it very clear what she has to do with 1923 exactly. I'm guessing she's the one of the Indians that ends up close to Yellowstone. But yeah, it's fantastic, enjoying it. But other than that, last week we watched one more episode this week, and we have been really enjoying my friends. Or
Friends and Neighbors.
Yours or mine? Friends and
Neighbors. Yeah.
With the actor
who was in Mad Men.
John Hamm, killing it, and there's another.
Amanda Peet is in it, and Olivia Munn.
Is
in it.
They're amazing storyline, amazing characters. And we won't spoil any of that for you, but it just took a little bit of a turn where he's getting deeper and deeper. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just see the trailer, you'll know that the main character is a high-powered Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
It's not important what he does. I don't remember exactly what his job was, but he he did Wall Street, and he was unceremoniously fired from his job, and he'd been used to making all these millions of dollars, and
Yeah, you can
suddenly,
basically tell the first 5 minutes, and you're not really
so
spoiling.
suddenly he's been on top of the world. Masters of the Universe, they used to call them. That was in the book Bonfire of the Vanities. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Bonfire of the Vanities. Tom Wolfe, phenomenal. He had actually show that you were what? It was a miniseries based in Atlanta, and the main guy, you watched it. It was a real estate guy. What was the name of that? A Perfect Man or A Better Man or The Best Man, something to do with man. So that was a Tom Wolfe novel as well. He passed away recently. Not to be confused with Thomas Wolfe, who wrote Never Can Go Home Again, from, which is classic American literature. Tom Wolfe wrote in the 90s and the aughts. And anyway, it kind of reminds me of Bonfire of the Vanities, which was making fun of that excess of life of where the people just spend money without even thinking about it. And that was the main character was in that. I mean, he had multiple houses. He had gotten divorced, and so he had to support the house that she was living in, and he had a house for his troubled sister and private schooling for his daughter, and just driving a $250,000 Maserati, and so on and so on. And suddenly that source of all that revenue is taken away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And how does he cope with that is the storyline. So it's interesting. And I used to live in New York City, and I wasn't on Wall Street, but I knew some people who were on Wall Street. And I saw I was somewhat adjacent to that. I knew people who were in that lifestyle, and I was not, far from it. But
yeah, it's fun. We can relate to a little bit. And then, of course, too, some people can't handle that because they can quickly weed out, oh, well, that's not like, they quickly get annoyed with all the parts that are not probable because they are so close to what that life would be like. Like a lot of doctors and stuff and nurses have issues with Grey's Anatomy just because, because of the fictional part of it so much, and like you couldn't do what they're doing in like 60 minutes, basically, But so, and so you got to always think about that when, which I like true stories though too. I'm always annoyed with true stories when they lean into a fictional side so much, because
right, me too.
Oh my gosh, the true story alone is just is amazing, and everybody thinks they is like a writer is just. I don't know what the problem is. They're so full of themselves or something. They feel like they have to change it so much when the material itself just speaks for itself. When a story can be so close to the truth, where it'd be like,
and sometimes you need to take, like you need to combine characters, because
mm-hmm.
you have a limited palette. I mean, real life history, you generally you lose interest if you do more than 90 minutes is about the maximum length of a movie, unless you're doing a blockbuster, 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, you really need to be top of your game to keep an audience's attention for 3 hours. And so in order to tell all those stories and have the story arc, sometimes you have to combine, there's multiple characters, but you have to combine those characters and extract the main parts of what those characters did. And I do understand that. That's, I think, allowable. I'll allow that. But just completely making up complete storylines, I have a problem with that myself. But one of the first things I do when I watch a movie, and Hollywood loves to make movies about real life characters. Those are the ones. If you want to win an Academy Award, an Oscar, your best bet is to base it off of a real life character or a real life situation. That's historically true. I mean, you can, those do better. And then when the actor who plays that part has a really good chance, if they do a great job, of actually winning Best Actor. I mean, that's Hollywood loves real life stories, but they embellish them. And Hollywood's in trouble, by the way. Read an article the other day saying AI is one thing that's going to take over But in 5 years, this particular provocative article, but he said in 5 years, Hollywood is going to be worse than Detroit was at the worst of, Detroit's on its way back. But 2008 or so, Detroit was in great distress. The automobile industry was not doing well, had to be bailed out. And remember 2008? And Detroit is on the comeback. But Hollywood, leaving off AI, where in 5 years, you're going to be able to make complete movies with no human actors or filming. AI is getting so good. If you just leave that out of it, production going on in Hollywood is down precipitously. I mean, production days, the article was something like in a previous period in the first quarter, I think it was 200 production days and there were only 11. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like not 10% discount or 20%. It was like 1/10 of what it had been like a year or two ago. And when you don't have the work, when you don't have the filming days, all of those people that support, the gaffers and the costume people and the people that do the back, what do you call it, the scenery, the makeup, all of those supporting parts, not just the actors. I mean, just all that supporting part, the sound. It's not being done in California anymore. For example, you can do the sound, the sound editing for like 10 cents on the dollar in the Czech Republic, and it's just as good quality. And so, if you're in a business where you want to make money, you're concerned about the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so Hollywood's got a problem. And I don't know if it's going to be as bad as this article said, but the numbers and the Palisades fire didn't help. Burned down a lot of people's property, and so it'd be interesting to see what happens. And not just outside the U.S. A lot of filming is being done in other states. A lot of states. There's probably about 15 states that have aggressively worked on getting programs to make it easier to film in their state.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of states that are pushing toward, and so if you can do it cheaper, other than in California, people may be still filming and doing that work in the U.S., but they're doing it in other states. And Yellowstone, they're not doing that in California, right? Were they doing that?
Probably not. I mean,
Montana, maybe Wyoming.
Yeah, they're doing it on. Yeah, and then they have the 666 that's owned by the director. That's in Texas. Texas, there's a big push.
Texas is a big push for filming. Yeah,
they were trying to get everybody to vote, and
Texas is one of the 15 states that is really pushing for production in their state.
So you'll have like your movie will cost like say $5 million, and then the government will just write you a check for a percentage of that and give you back the money, which is just great.
Yeah. California can't compete with that because they have a huge budget deficit. So even if they wanted to, they can't compete with it because they have a huge budget deficit.
And the reason they're able to do that, of course, is because that brings jobs. That's putting tax dollars in the government's pockets themselves, and it makes. I mean, and then what do you have in Georgia? You have what's his name?
Yeah, Georgia's another one that's pushing for filming.
He made a multi-billion-dollar facility there. What's his name? He's on the tip of my tongue. All the different. The guy that plays the grandma character.
Oh, Tyler Perry.
His big facilities are in Georgia there.
Oh yeah, because I went to I went to a sync licensing. Now sync music. I'm a singer-songwriter for those of you who may not know, and I record a lot of music. And I went to a sync licensing event there about a month ago, a weekend, and they talked about Tyler Perry movies. And he's I think that's his home base is there.
Yep.
And they were talking about big money. I mean, I don't know how much I'm unable to share, but we're talking about big, humongous checks if you had a song, and they needed a bunch of songs. Then if you had a song that would be used in a particular movie they're working on. And I mean, big fat, the amount of money, huge fat checks. and Tyler Perry's based there, and he needs music, and there's a big music industry in Atlanta as well. Atlanta is a big center for mainly urban, I would say, urban music probably primarily, but Atlanta is a center. Georgia is a big center for arts, certainly filming and music. So a lot of that is moving. I mean, traditionally it used to be in California and New York, and of course Nashville was sleepy country music. Nashville is still it's called Music City, and New York has kind of died off. Very expensive. All the studios there, they can't afford to keep them running. And California was a big bastion for pop, and it still is. But I would say that that is moving to other places as well. Austin is a big, Texas is also going for the South by Southwest is in Austin, Texas. So
yeah, and then you have North Carolina, where MrBeast is, and he has a lot of facilities there that he's wanting to utilize for movies and help people have sets there. I mean, he's built tons of them, and he has got all these buildings there, and I think there might have already been in North Carolina one of those incentives, one of those money back things. I was trying to look it up, but he's made that. And I think they filmed that's $100 million that went into North Carolina there. That I believe that's where they filmed
MrBeast games.
I think I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's where all his facilities are. Other than that, they did. I didn't realize until later I'd watched the whole full series, but they started with 2,000 people, and they came out with just an episode on his channel where they took that. They were in Las Vegas, and they took the 2,000 down to 1,000, and that's what they started the mystery games with. So the winner still even had to even survive from 2,000 down to 1,000. And I mean, there's a lot of just random chance a little here and there too that comes in with that. It's crazy. The guy that won is just amazing. I've watched a number of interviews and stuff, and just a great guy won it. It's just really neat. Trying to help his son, and then just a really down to earth guy. And so it was funny. He was talking about, it was like, MrBeast does something crazy. He writes you a check for the entire amount. He didn't take any money. I'm like, this isn't a job. You won the money, buddy. He's not going to hold back money. It's like any time you win money, you got to pay taxes on it. Like, it's not like a job where they hold the taxes back. He got a $10 million, and yeah, you got to pay taxes on that. But that was the nice bonus about it being doubled. Nobody knew until you watched that episode that they were flipping the coin for it to be either stay at 5 million or go to 10 million, and it went to 10 million. So basically, you were gonna make 5 million after taxes. Most likely is what it worked out. Or you can do some business things and too, especially when he's got the nonprofit thing he wants to do. His son has I forget what the condition was, but his son has had a condition that was his main focus was to do this, and he had just lost a job, I think less than 6 months before, so he was just kind of dilly dabbing in different things, and he just went for this. Just put a simple video with his son sitting on his lap and made it on the show, and yeah, it was nice you saw a little bit of backstabbing and stuff on that show, and it was nice to see such a nice guy make it there at the end and complete it. But anybody that was doing some shady stuff, like you saw them, everybody taking note of who that was, and they were quickly kicked out at different spots when people were able to.
Have you seen any updates from the woman who won the $2 million or $1.8 million island or $1.75 million?
Oh, good
island?
question. I'm not sure. I'm guessing she probably tried to sell it or whatever. I don't know if MrBeast possibly might have even bought it back from her, just to do something else with the island or something, But yeah, good question. Man, and then I think she, besides just island, I think she had some cash also, right? It was crazy. The number of people. I mean, there was people further down the list that still walked away with like 100,000 or whatever, at different times. I mean, goodness, what was that? The third, just the third episode when there was they were split into 3 or 4 teams. One captain could buzz in as the amount went up, and the amount of money went all the way up to $1 million, and they could push that button and they would stay in the game and get that $1 million, but everybody on their team would go home. And not one of them pushed that button. That was just so crazy. It was like, why are you here to make
I didn't
friends?
realize that you'd stay in the game.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but usually,
if I had done that,
usually
I'd just go home. Just give me the $1 million. I'm going home.
And you know what? If I was on that team and my person, I would be bummed. But I was like, you're
here to make money. You're here to make money. Yeah.
That none of them pushed it is crazy. And one of them, the black lady, she made it to the final two, and she was one of the captains that could have had that $1 million. But I think she still.
But she got $100,000, or he gave her $100,000 at the end.
Yeah, MrBeast. MrBeast is so funny. MrBeast is the worst person to give away money because he just hates people losing. He's literally had people back on his show multiple times when they've lost, just hoping that they would win. And, I mean, usually it's a friend though too, but he's had a guy on 3 different episodes, and he would lose it all every time, and he finally won. I think like maybe 700,000 or something, but that was after 2 or 3 episodes of him just like risking it every time and then just losing everything. And one of them was one of those you had to cut out do the whole Squid Games
cookie,
things.
the Squid Games cookie. Yeah.
Oh, those are rough sometimes.
Yeah.
They incorporated that a number of times. You got what's the hardest one?
The hardest one is an umbrella.
Yes.
The easiest one is a triangle.
Right. Yeah, the first season. I still haven't watched the second season. You enjoyed it, right? The second season of Squid Games. I think you binged the whole thing, right? I think you had finished the whole thing.
I honestly don't remember. I guess it didn't make that big of an impression.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, it's so hard.
It wasn't nearly as good as the first one.
And that's always the issue. Is the impression has that experience. There's always a huge struggle with trying to make a repeat. Yeah, you can easily make the money because the first one did so well, but it's something, and I think a big part of it's your brain is like that first impression. You get that high, and you just can't match that with a second movie. You know.
Oh, I recall. Now I'm remembering it. Yeah, but I don't even remember how it ended. But I do remember.
He figured out a way to get back in the game or whatever, and it looks like he's trying to.
But it's you break the fourth wall in a way. I mean, whereas before, they were not able to get into the guard room where they're administrating the game. But in Squid Games 2, second season, they actually breach that.
So things go kind of crazy, huh?
Things go crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I started watching it. I just didn't suck me in as well. I know that was one of those big exceptions where like it's in a foreign language, and which they've done so much better with matching them up. And then now the technology they haven't utilized it yet, but they're going to start doing the whole AI thing where like they're going to change the lips which that's going to change the game big time, because there's a number of movies that seem like they'll be pretty decent. And man, I have a struggle. I mean, we have this in common. We're watching Bobland, and I'm like with you 100%. Put the subtitles on because we can't understand half of what they're saying
because they're speaking with a Cockney accent.
Mm-hmm.
They're the UK Cockney accent. They're gangsters from the UK.
Yeah,
and they use a lot of slang, and
we have to look up some of the slang.
We have to, yeah. British slang.
Just once we see it spoken, I mean, yeah, they just say it so quick in such a way where like you need to read it to understand what they say. But then sometimes it's words we don't even know, we don't even use that they aren't part of our vocabulary. But that's been a pretty interesting show. Well written. Pierce is amazing.
Brosnan, yeah, and Helen Mirren.
Oh my gosh, she is creepy in that. She is,
and of course Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy is amazing.
Absolutely amazing actor.
Just watched the Tom Hardy movie, which if you like shoot 'em up movies, you'll love it. Tim had a very good evaluation of it. That the characters just didn't develop enough. Whereas for me, it's hard to come by a movie where like more than 50% of it is like a shoot 'em up movie, and I love a good shoot 'em up movie, which even for me it was a little bit of overkill at times. I could see that it was a little bit, but I loved.
Well, you couldn't even tell. Typically a great story, the hero's journey and all that. You have an antagonist and a protagonist. Havoc is it's called, and you had at the end you had about 5 different opposing forces. And you had the way the Ebert summary was, okay, here are the different factions that are fighting each other. You have the very corrupt cops. You have the slightly less corrupt cops. You have the corrupt mayor. You have the 2 teams of Asian gangsters. And then you have this couple that the mayor's son and his girlfriend, who aren't really aligned with anyone else. And so you got, who are you rooting for? You have 5. I mean, normally it's good versus bad. I mean, the traditional Western, the good guys wear the white hats, the bad guys wear the black hats, and you had good versus bad.
And worse.
Here it's like all shades of gray, or maybe shades of black, because there's nobody any good. They're all corrupt. They're all on the take. There's nobody that is, and it didn't develop the characters enough for me. I want to have character development where I am I'm the protagonist, someone that I am rooting for. Even though I love Tom Hardy, it was hard for me to root for his character, because first of all, we didn't have enough of a character development. I thought it was, and then I mean, it had big name actors. It had Tom Hardy, and it had Forrest Whitaker. I mean, big name. And then it had Timothy Olyphant. Is that his name? Timothy Olyphant. He's a big name. I may have been saying his name
the
wrong.
Hispanic guy?
No.
He's a separate one, right?
The more corrupt cop.
Oh, yes. He's on some really good
shows. Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah.
Or
fantastic actor.
Yeah. He was in it. So some big name actors in it. But I mean, if you like John Woo, it definitely took a lot of influence from the shoot 'em up.
But John Wick even has better.
Well, the John Woo is the Asian side of that.
Okay, yeah. I think for him to enjoy this, he would have to throw everything he loves about movies out the window. And it was like, throw it all. I'm like, throw it all out the window and let the bullets fly and just enjoy it. I was like, I can't believe how much of it you could watch and not want to know how the ending goes. You left like 10 minutes left.
Well, I was looking at my phone for the last 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, you were a little bit. Yeah,
completely. Yeah. I was tuned out because it was just one shootout after the other.
I was loving it. I hadn't seen a good one like that since John Wick, but of course John Wick is a lot better than this. But it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still, because I'd have to just give it a C+, especially after Tim and I talked about it. And as far as like when it comes to like action, if you're just gonna judge and you can't just judge on action. I mean, because then you have nothing. Like, I mean, you just have war. But if you were gonna just judge on action, yeah, I'd give it a B+. But as a full movie, yeah, I'd give it a C+ for myself. But yeah, still enjoyable. Netflix does a decent job. They'll have a big movie something that you would have watched in theaters come out, and but man, right now still Paramount Plus has been killing it. Oh, and then that show we were talking about, Friends and Neighbors, that's on Apple Plus, and they all their shows have been fantastic. So, but you want to wrap it up, Tim?
I do want to do one thing. The screen went black, so I was concerned about it.
Okay, we still okay?
It's still okay.
We are still live, ladies and gentlemen. We are not your normal podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are a live podcast.
So I just got this vinyl record came in. This is my new album that's going to be released June 27th, and the vinyl shipment came in this week, and Born in South Dakota is the album, and you can get this pre-sale for only $17, free shipping in the U.S. So those of you that are interested in
pull
getting
it out
this
too.
new
It
album,
looks so cool. You could have, you don't even know how many colors they have, right? But it's a bunch of
it's echo color, so it's a lot of different colors. I mean, well, it could any color. You can't be sure what the color is but this color is just amazing.
Looks
I mean, if
so
they're
cool.
all of them were that color, that beautiful
Is it kind of like
green.
a teal or it's
teal?
even,
Yeah, like a teal.
Yeah, it looks so cool. I'm try to be careful with that. And then it has all that your extra thing too in there, right?
Yeah, it has a insert with photos and credits. So,
and how many songs are on it? Did you say?
There's 10 songs.
10 songs. Yeah, you usually don't get that in there. A whole separate. Yeah, records are. I know that's that is neat that records have made such a big comeback, because I always liked having something to hold in my hand, and the old record lives, and you got the same good quality, even better quality than probably what would be if just an MP3, right?
Oh, that's much better. MP3 is like low quality.
Yeah, this is something I've learned from Tim, is that realize just the crappy quality you're stuck listening to when you're just listening, or even like what Spotify and all that would be all compressed, reduced, right?
Yeah. And a CD is only 16-bit versus already 24-bit is how it's recorded. So you're already losing some, but it's still not compressed, but it's instead of 24-bit, it's 16-bit when you go to a CD.
So what are you losing in that? Is there instruments you won't hear as well, or is that just the quality? What kind of quality would change in that process from
well, okay,
MPV
just take a look
compressed?
at a song. If you look at a WAV file, which is an uncompressed digital version of a song, and how many meg, a typical 3.5 minute song is about 50 megabytes, and that's uncompressed. An MP3 of that same song, same length, is usually about less than 10 megabytes. And you can see it on your computer or your phone if you can see the size of the file. And that's information that's taken away. It's just
wow. So playing them side by side, you definitely would be noticeable.
Well, if you use the earbuds, probably not.
Really?
But if you're using a good speaker in your car, you could hear the difference, no doubt about it. And you might even be able to hear it on your phone speaker. Even that's not a great hi-fi, but in your car, if you have a decent stereo system in your car, you would definitely hear the difference between an uncompressed and a compressed file.
Because of the quality of the speakers, right.
Because most sound systems in a car is pretty decent.
Okay, gotcha.
Pretty decent today. I mean,
interesting.
And they tune that space to have pretty good response. Usually, most cars, last 20 years, cars.
So here's a question. You said the headphones.
You're
not gonna have earbuds, or earbuds. Well, I guess headphones would be different.
Headphones are different. Headphones are different.
You're kind of limited with how good your technology is going to be, just because of how small it is.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with that space, huh?
Right.
So really, I mean, it's smarter to even just have regular headphones if you want to listen to good quality music. Yeah. Which I prefer the regular size headphones too, unless you're like working out or whatever, because then the whole thing starts sweating and all that. But
and there's different quality of earbuds as well. I mean, some of them are your cheap ones. You can probably get at a convenience store. You are limited. Yeah, you're limited.
Space, interesting.
Yeah.
So when it comes, I mean, when you think about it, with technology, you get the all the little computer little bits and all the little. There's all of it's getting smaller and smaller. But when it comes to music, you need the sound, the speaker. Bigger is better always, then, right?
Generally speaking.
Okay.
I mean, not to the point where you want it.
Right.
Certainly bigger than what's in an earbud.
Right.
To get a bass response, you need a bigger speaker. You need probably at least a 15-inch would be nice. 15-inch diameter speaker. An earbud is the diameter of that speaker is probably, that earbud is probably, a 16th of an inch, maybe diameter speaker.
I got my new extreme size earbuds.
So And if you go to most like my subwoofer, it looks like it's probably, I think it's 18-inch. I'm going to guess it's 18-inch. Just looking at it, I can see it from here. 18-inch speaker, maybe bigger. Could be even bigger. I have to measure it and see. But that's for a studio quality system. Might be bigger, might be in the 20s. I'm not sure. But 15-inch should be the smallest for a good bass response, I would think.
Yeah, that was something that you told me that a number of years ago now, and that just blew my mind. Like, because I mean, really, to if you really want to properly enjoy music, you need to be listen on CD is good too, but I mean, really, a record player, and then I mean, once you put it on the computer, it's all going to be compressed, right? I mean, I guess
no, not if it's a WAV file.
If it's a WAV file, okay,
but it's digital, and so this is analog.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother discussion. Analog means not digital. And so there's a whole vinyl enthusiasts will claim that these sound much better. They sound warmer. They don't sound as digital. And I think there's a point to that. It does sound a little different because the physical activity of reproducing that sound, it's a needle stylus in a groove, and it's literally vibrating. So that's how you produce that sound, and then you amplify that vibration. And that's what a phonograph does, a phonograph player does, a turntable. Versus digital is all ones and zeros. And it's been, digitized. But the deterioration won't happen with digital. Those ones and zeros, that CD,
right,
if it's not scratched, it'll sound the same 100 years from now. If you have a system that can read it.
Definitely, it was versus with CDs. How are CDs compared to like a record?
Well, a record will deteriorate. Every time you're scraping, there's friction. Every time you play it, you're degrading it somewhat. Because it's in the groove. Have you ever seen a rock that is maybe rain over centuries has worn it away?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. So you literally
you're continuing, and at a very micro level. Every time you play it, you're degrading it in an infinitesimal small amount. But if you play a record, 200 times, you're going to start to. Audiophiles will probably say, "Oh, not really," but it's a physical. There's friction there. There's got to be scraping. It's got to be. Whereas digital, there's no friction. It's read with. That's not going to change. So there's no deterioration. And then on a record, I'm not crapping on records by any stretch, but I'm just saying that's a difference. You get dust in there. Have you ever heard a record that sounds a lot of static because dust got in the grooves? So the best thing to do is clean it, and that's why when I handle them, I use a white glove so I don't get oil on the grooves. You want to keep it because it can deteriorate very easily. And, whereas you don't have to worry about that. You only have to worry about scratching your CD. If it's not scratched, it's going to play the same as when it was brand new. So that's one difference. But some people like a vinyl record because of the tactile, even a CD versus people say, well, I don't even have a CD player. I want to listen to CD. I want to just push a button. But people miss the tactile sense of holding it, the process. Holding it in your hand, putting the needle down on the groove. Vinyl enthusiasts, it's therapeutic. It's very special.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I gotta get myself a nice record player. All right, guys. Well, when is that available, Tim?
June 27th, but you can buy the pre-sale now.
Pre-sale right now, guys. If you what's the website for that?
I will put it in the comments.
All right, guys. It'll be in the comments. Check that out. And guys, we appreciate you watching the podcast. Please, if you're especially on Facebook, that's where most of our audience is. Please share the podcast with your friends. It would be much appreciated. And we're almost to 100 on our No Sugar No Cream Facebook page. If you'd like that, that would be very, very much appreciated. And you guys can check us out on Instagram if you want. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye. Still here. I'm still here. And appreciate you guys.